Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl and welcome back to my studio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the beautiful Meadow Poncho and even show you a couple of tips and tricks on how to style it in a lot of different ways. Let's get started. The Meadow Poncho pattern includes instructions that have written line-by-line instructions as well as a full chart if you prefer to follow the chart or the written instructions. And it also spells out how much yarn you'll need and what kind of yarn, what kind of crochet hook, what kind of yarn I used, the stitch guide so you know what kind of stitches you'll need to know, as well as the fact that it comes in multiple sizes. So depending on what size you need, there are lots of options. And as you'll see in my styling tips, there's lots of different ways you can wear this as well. But what I wanted to point out is that even though there are so many ways to style and wear this, it is really just a rectangle. So how we're going to make this is we start with the foundation ovals and make one strip of foundation ovals along the center. We're going to work in rows down in one direction, fasten off, then we'll pick back up on the opposite end of the foundation ovals and work in rows to finish the opposite side. That's it. For all intents and purposes, it is a giant scarf with a buttonhole in the center. So easy. And whether you prefer the written line-by-line instructions or the chart, I'm going to show you how incredibly simple this is to do. If you're not familiar with working with charts, you'll want to refer to the key over here to understand what the different symbols mean. We're going to be using chain, slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet, 3 double crochet cluster, treble crochet, and foundation oval. If any of these stitches are not familiar to you, I highly recommend you watch my Stitch Library encyclopedia where each of these stitches actually has its own video where I show right hand, left hand instruction as well as slow motion. So it's a great way to get caught up if you need a reminder or a refresher course on how to do any of these stitches. I used Be So Sporty yarn, which is my number 2 sport weight bamboo yarn for this project, and I did it in 2 colors for stripes. You could also do this in 1 color. It would be just as beautiful without the stripe as with the stripe. I'm going to be using Be So Sporty yarn in 2 contrast colors just to help you see the stitches a little bit better, but you could use complementary colors, high contrast colors, or all in 1 color. It doesn't really matter. The stitch work is beautiful regardless. And we're also going to be using a size H or 5mm crochet hook, and that is a suggested size. If your gauge is different than mine, you would want to adjust your crochet hook size accordingly. So let's get started with the first row, which is our setup row. Our setup row is going to be with foundation ovals, and so we're going to start by tying our yarn to our crochet hook, and you can either do a slip knot or a square knot, whichever you prefer. I prefer a square knot. There's absolutely no wrong way. Whichever way you prefer to do it is fine. And we're going to start with a chain 4. And treble crochet in the 4th chain from our hook. The 4th chain from the hook is counting backwards. We're not going to count the loop on our hook. That's our working loop. So we're going to count back 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over 2 times. Insert your hook in the specified chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. And that is a foundation oval. We're going to do that again. Chain 4. Treble crochet is yarn over twice. Insert your hook in the 4th chain from your hook. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 2 foundation ovals on our hook. Depending on what size of the poncho you're making, you're going to want to refer to your pattern to see how many ovals you're going to need. I'm going to do a total of 7 to replicate what you see here on the chart, and I'll show you on here. There is the 7 foundation ovals, and I'm going to replicate the chart, so that's what I will do. So you want to do your foundation ovals, and then we'll check back in together to start row 1. This is what the setup row should look like. Now I'm going to refer back to my pattern here to show you what row 1 says. You're going to read the symbols, but I'm going to read out loud what it translates to in English. So it's a chain 1, single crochet in the first foundation oval. Then in the next foundation oval, we're going to do chain 1, double crochet 5 times, chain 1, single crochet in the next foundation oval, and then repeat that across. So let me show you what that looks like with the yarn now. We're going to chain 1 and single crochet in the first oval. So when I say in the first oval, I mean in that giant space. There's the chain 4 on one side and the treble on the other side. We're going to insert our crochet hook into that giant space, yarn over, pull up a loop. Sorry, single crochet is insert your hook in the space. Yeah, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. There's a single crochet. Now for the next part, we're going to chain 1 and double crochet in the next foundation oval. Double crochet is yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we did chain 1, 1 double crochet. We're going to do that 4 more times. Chain 1, 2, chain 1, 3, chain 1, 4, chain 1, and 5. We want a total of 5 double crochets, alternating with a chain 1 in that foundation oval, then chain 1 and single crochet in the next foundation oval. So this is what we're going to repeat across. We're going to do the 5 double crochets alternating with chain 1s and the single crochet in the next oval, and you want to repeat that all the way across your row for row 1. This is what your work should look like at the end of row 1. I fastened off my yarn because for the striping that I'm doing, I change color at the end of row 1, and what I'm going to do is change the color every 2 rows. So rows 2 and 3 will be the same color, then 4 and 5, and so on. But there's no wrong way for you to do the color stripes either. However you prefer to do your stripes, it's fine. You could do 1 row stripes, you could do 2 row stripes, 3 row stripes, it doesn't really matter. But we're going to tie our second color of yarn onto our crochet hook now. Again, you can do a slip knot, square knot, does not matter. No wrong way to do it, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to turn my work now to get started in that last stitch, which was a single crochet, so I'm going to start with a slip stitch. So I inserted my crochet hook into the single crochet, yarn over, pull through the stitch and the loop on my hook. That's our slip stitch. And so row 2 now begins with a chain 4 that counts as a treble crochet, then skip 1 chain 1 space. In the second chain 1 space, we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 2, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 2, 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the next 2 chain 1 spaces, and work a 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space. And we'll be repeating that all the way across. So now we'll do that with the yarn. Chain 4, skip the first chain 1 space. In the next chain 1 space, we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster, which is yarn over your hook, insert your hook in the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 2 loops on our hook. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on your hook. That's a 3 double crochet cluster. Chain 2, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 2, 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space. And if you need any refreshers on how to do this stitch, I highly recommend watching the individual video that I have all about how to do any of these stitches. Chain 1, We're now going to skip the next 2 chain 1 spaces, and in the next chain 1 space work a 3 double crochet cluster again. Chain 2, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 2, and we'll repeat this all the way across. And then at the end of our row, we finish off with a treble crochet in the last stitch, which was a single crochet on the previous row. And that's what the end of row 2 should look like. Row 3 is going to be in the same color, so let's look back on the chart again. Row 3 begins with a chain 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1, and then in that same space we're going to work double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, then skip the next chain 2 space and work a single crochet in the next chain 1 space, and then chain 1, double crochet 5 times in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1 double crochet 5 times in the next chain 1 space, and repeat that all the way across. So let me show you what that looks like with the yarn. We're going to start with a chain 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1, turn our work, and in that same stitch work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and then come across to the next chain 1 space and work a single crochet. Chain 1, and working across to the next chain 1 space, which will be between these 2 cluster stitches, we're going to work double crochet chain 1 5 times. Notice how I'm not working into the actual chain 1, I'm working into the space of the underneath the stitch, and that's a personal preference. You could either work tightly into the chain or in the space underneath it. The only thing I recommend is whichever way you decide to do it, make sure you're consistent throughout the whole project. So we've got our chain 1, double crochet 5 times in that space, chain 1, the next chain 1 space, single crochet, and we're going to repeat this all the way across. Okay, for our last repeat, we're going to work in the space underneath that chain 4. At the end of the row, we're going to double crochet chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And that's what the end of row 3 should look like. I fastened off my work again because I'm going to change color. Again, I'm doing a 2-row color stripe. So I'm going to tie the first color back to my crochet hook. And now let's look at the chart again. So row 4 is going to begin with a chain 1, single crochet in the first double crochet, single crochet in the first chain 1 space, then chain 2, 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the next chain 1, single crochet chain 1, and in the next chain 1 space work a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 2, single in the next chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1, chain 2, and 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the next 2 chain 1 spaces, and 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space, and we're going to repeat this across the entire row. Now I'll be happy to show it to you with the yarn. So we're going to insert our crochet hook into that last stitch worked and join the new color with a slip stitch, chain 1, and single crochet in that same stitch. Then we're going to single crochet in the next chain 1 space. Again, I'm working in the space under the chain 1 space. You could work into the tighter space of the chain 1. The only thing that I suggest is however you decide to do it, just be consistent throughout the project. Chain 2, then we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space, yarn over. insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and we'll do that 3 more times. So now we have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on the hook, chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, single crochet and chain 1 space, and work a 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We'll do that 2 more times. Yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on your hook, chain 2, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 2, and 3 double crochet cluster in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip the next chain 1, single crochet chain 1 in the next chain 1 space, work a 3 double crochet cluster. We're going to repeat this all the way across the row. Okay, at the end of the last repeat, we're going to work a single crochet in the last chain 1 space and a single crochet in the last double crochet, which, because this had a chain 4 that counted as a double crochet chain 1, that'll be the third of those chains to count as the double crochet space. And this is what the end of row 4 should look like. We're not going to fasten off here because I'm going to use this color again for row 5, but let me show you what it looks like in the chart form first. So row 5 begins with a chain 1 and single crochet in the first single crochet. We're going to chain 1, skip the chain 2 space. In the next chain 1 space, work double crochet chain 1 times 5, single crochet in the next chain 1 space. Actually, depending on how you work, you can word this either way. Let's go back to here because it could be chain 1 double crochet times 5, then chain 1 single crochet. So depending on how you say it, it ends up being the same thing. We're alternating a chain 1 between each stitch, right? So whether it's written as chain 1 double crochet in the pattern or the opposite way, I'm just showing you here how to read the chart. So it's single crochet, chain 1 double, 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 chain 1 single crochet. And we're going to be doing that in the chain 1 spaces all the way across the row. And let me show you what that looks like with the yarn now. So we're going to, for row 5, chain 1, turn our work, single crochet in the first single crochet, chain 1 in the next chain 1 space. We're going to work double crochet, chain 1. I'm going to do this for a total of 5 times. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. Now we'll come across here, skip the chain 2 space, skip the single. In that next chain 1 space, work a single crochet. And again, I'm working in the space under the chain 1 spaces, not the tight chain 1 itself. And that's a personal preference. If you'd rather work in the space that's in the actual chain, that's fine. Just be consistent throughout your project. And we're going to repeat this across the entire row. And we'll end the last repeat with a chain 1 and single crochet in the last single crochet at the end of the row. And that's what the end of row 5 should look like. So our repeat now is to repeat rows 2, 3, 4, and 5. And notice how I've done one color for 2 and 3 and another color for 4 and 5. I have been fastening off my yarn at the end of each 2-row color stripe. You could either carry them up, you could fasten them off, you could make your stripes taller, you could make your stripes shorter. There's no wrong way to do it. However you feel inspired to do your color work is fine. Doing this in one solid color would also be very beautiful, but however you do it's fine. Just be consistent throughout. That's the only thing that really will make a difference as far as seeing however you creatively do things in your own way. So now you're going to want to continue on however you're doing your color stripes or however doing your pattern. You want to repeat rows 2, 3, 4, and 5 throughout for the length of this side, and you'll want to refer to your pattern and the size you're making to see how many rows that actually is. Once you've done that, you can fasten off the yarn on this side, and then I'm going to show you how we work our stitches on the opposite end. So this will be the front or the back, whichever, and then we're going to turn around here. And in order to make the neck opening, we're going to have to make a small section of foundation ovals to create an opening. And then after that, we'll work our rows 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, and repeat rows 2, 3, 4, 5 for the length on this side, just like we did on the opposite side. So let me explain what I'm saying here on the chart first, and then we'll do it with the yarn. So depending on the size you're making and how wide you want your neck opening, you're going to add foundation ovals for the width that you want your neck opening to be. You're going to start with a slip stitch on one foundation oval further out than the amount that you're making, because these are replacing the foundation ovals on the opposite side that won't get joined, so you have a neck opening. So we're going to slip stitch in a foundation oval outside how many we're doing. We're doing the 3 center, so we'll skip the 3 center, and then we'll slip stitch into the next foundation oval on the outside of those center ones that we're mirroring, fasten off, and then come back and start row 1 from here. So actually we'll look at it from here, because we're going to be working now this second side from this direction. So let me show you how we do that with our yarn. So why don't let's do it in the opposite color so you can see it a little bit better. So we'll tie the yarn to our crochet hook. Okay, and so for the demonstration and the chart, we're going to be mirroring these 3 center foundation ovals, which means I'm going to slip stitch into the one, and what I mean is like that stitch that's centered between the 2. So not in the actual next foundation oval, but in that stitch at the join between the 2 foundation ovals. So we'll slip stitch to join there. Then we're going to chain 4. Okay, then we're going to do a treble crochet in the 4th chain from our hook, yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and through 2. We'll do that 2 more times. Okay, so now we'll skip the 3 foundation ovals that we're mirroring for the opposite side of our neck opening, and then in that stitch before the next foundation oval opening, we will slip stitch to join, fasten off, and so now we have the full length of foundation ovals we need to begin row 1 of this side, but we also have a neck opening in the center here. How cool is that? You could apply this to any poncho. You could apply this to any stitch pattern to create a beautiful square poncho. If you start with foundation ovals, create a neck opening on one side, then you can work into both sides in the same, and they look exactly the same. You just have that big space in the middle to pop your head through. Love, love, love this. Anyway, so now what we'll do is start with row 1, and honestly, it's the same thing as the row 1 that we did on this side, only we're coming at it from the opposite side of our foundation ovals. So let's go back to the coral. And in case anybody doesn't understand what I just did, I changed color on this just so that you could see it. If I was doing my actual poncho, I would have done these foundation ovals in the same color as I did on the opposite side so that it would be invisible and blend in well. I did a contrast color for the tutorial so that you could see it better. That's all. Okay, so row 1 is going to be slip stitch into the first foundation oval. And let's refer to the chart to see what we're going to do. See, which side are we working on? This one now. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and single crochet into that same oval. Chain 1. In our next foundation oval, we're going to work double crochet, chain 1 5 times. Chain 1, single crochet in the next foundation oval, chain 1, and we're going to repeat this all the way across. Okay, just like on the other side, we fastened off at the end of row 1 because our color stripe is going to be within the repeat. We're going to be repeating rows 2, 3, 4, and 5 with rows 2 and 3 in the second color and then rows 4 and 5 back in the first color. So now that I've shown you how to work the foundation ovals how to work the row 1 into the opposite side of the foundation ovals, honestly the rest of it is exactly the same as we did on this side. You're just going to be mirroring the color sequences and repeating rows 2, 3, 4, and 5 throughout. You can download this pattern individually or as part of my newest book, Layers Crochet. You can order Be So Sporty yarn on my website, and you can also order the Be So Sweet crochet hook set on my website. And now in the last segment of the video, I'm going to show you some amazing styling tips for this poncho that I've shown on my daily sunrise podcast at the beach called Create, Share, Inspire Podcast. Enjoy. Thank you all for being here. So I'm wearing the Meadow Poncho and I turned it sideways this morning. Originally, the original design I did this way so that it's 2 rectangles, one in the front, one in the back, and it gives you these beautiful horizontal stripes that turn vertical when your arm goes up and down, and nice off the shoulder neckline. But if you turn it sideways, you get a V-neck vertical striped poncho that is also square. It just has a little more of an angle at the bottom edge. I think this would be great again for securing these. You could secure the sides with buttons, with lacing, or just sewing them all together. But if you don't do a permanent solution, then you can still wear it in both directions, because you realize once you turn it this way, you would be sewing the different side for sleeves. So I think this would be a great candidate for corset ties or buttons or some other temporary type of... All right, so I'm wearing the Meadow Poncho that I wore yesterday, and I'm wearing it with a belt in one of the 4 different ways. I'm going to show you how to wear this with a belt. So I'm wearing it straight on it first off. So we've got this horizontal stripe growing across the center. Hi Maria. And then once your arm goes down, it turns into a vertical stripe here, which I think that's really interesting that the stripe changes. I've also designed this to be off the shoulder because I do think that exposed shoulders when the rest of your body is covered is quite sexy in a demure way. You could wear it one shoulder, which I love, or evenly spaced across both shoulders. If you wore a strapless tank top underneath there or a strapless dress, I think that would be amazing too. I'm wearing monochromatic dark silhouette underneath, so I have dark denim on and a dark tank top. But you could do this under white. You could do, it depends on what colors you do in your poncho. Notice I've done it in 2 colors that are complementary. You could also do this in 2 contrast colors. You could do it all in 1 colors. Melissa, this is that stretchy belt that I found on Amazon. If you go to my Amazon shop, you can buy these belts. I bought a 2-pack of a tan and a black for like, I don't know, it was right around $10. It was crazy. And they come in a silver gold combo. They come in a bunch of different combos. I did buy the larger of the two sizes, and I think I'm right in between and probably need the small size, but that's okay. This works for what I'm doing so far. So you notice that I inserted the belt from the front through the back around my natural waistline halfway down the poncho. And then I came out through the back, wrapped around, pushed back in through this side of the back and back out through the front. What you want to do is make sure your fronts and your backs are smooth, and so the extra volume is in these newly created sleeves. So beautiful, and the more you move your arms, the more beautiful it becomes. I'm going to show you another way to do this. So I'll take this out now. And remember how we turned the poncho sideways yesterday and created vertical stripes at a V-neck? Well, we're going to do that next. Okay, well, let me show you what I showed you yesterday too, though. So here's how you would wear the poncho unbelted. Also super gorgeous, straight on or off one shoulder. Either way, super cute. So then the other way is to turn it this way, which is now gives you a V-neck in the front and back, and more of a vertical stripe and a diagonal stripe on the sides, which I think this is very figure flattering, these stripes. And again, don't forget, if you don't change color and you do it all in one piece, this would be a lot more subtle as well. Or if you did high contrast, it would be less subtle. Okay, so I'm going to try to find that natural waistline again. This is hard to do without a mirror, guys. I don't recommend doing it at the beach in front of your phone like this, but here's the rub on that. If I can do it like this, think about how much easier it would be to do in the comfort of your bedroom. Not your bed, your bedroom. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. I think definitely winging it here. Hopefully this works. Okay, so I tried to go with my natural waistline. Try to keep the belt straight. Okay. And then so I'm going to smooth this out. You don't want it to be ruffled across the front or the back. You want the volume to be in the sleeves. This is not even, but it is close enough that I think you're going to get the look. I mean, both ways look like a fitted top. It no longer looks like a two-dimensional poncho. It definitely looks more like a top. I love, love, love this look both ways. What I like about this one is that it's a little shorter, so if you wanted to show off some of your bum, you could. And if you didn't, you would wear it the other way. So either way, super cute. I do think I have it the belt unevenly placed, so keep that in mind. That it would be cuter if you did it more thoroughly with a mirror or laying it flat on your bed or something like that. Okay, so the next two ways I'm going to show you how to belt it is how we've done the Selena Ruana, and that's by taking the belt and putting it around the whole thing. And that way we're going to pull the volume out of the sleeves to blouse them out and create volume that way. So you can see there's another way. This one's going to be a little harder to do without a mirror, but I'm going to try. So we're going to try to blouse it out evenly on both sides. And so now I've shown you 2 ways to wear it loose, 2 ways to wear it belted through. So this is the 5th way to wear it now, and that would be blousing it out and keeping the belt all the way on the outside. Okay? And then we'll do that with the poncho facing the other way. So we'll go this way now. I'll tell you what, it'll be a miracle if this comes across as a tutorial at all. I can barely see what I'm doing. Ah, the beauty of live. That's the fun though. Because you know what, sometimes I think that you can learn from my mistakes too, and that's why I'm okay exposing myself and exposing imperfections on the podcast, because sometimes you can see something I do that doesn't work out and go, oh yeah, no, I would do it better. And just by seeing a mistake of mine, sometimes you can apply that and say, oh, I don't like how she did that. I would tweak it this way. So that's why I'm not afraid to show you when I mess up, because I think that it can still be a learning experience for everybody. Okay, so now we've turned it the other way with the vertical stripe, the V-neck, and I pulled the belt all the way around, and I'm going to blouse out the sleeves a little bit, try to see if we can get it even from front to back. And man, I think this is super cute too. Definitely looks like a top, doesn't it? Looks more like a three-dimensional fitted top. So cute. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comments, and there's links to everything we talked about below in the video description. Please subscribe to my channel so you'll be first to know when I've uploaded new videos, and click that bell notification button so you'll know every time I go live, including for my daily sunrise podcast at the beach. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. I'll see you in the next video.